Hey guys, welcome back to class. So, it's a little cold in here today, so we're going to do a slight warm-up. We're just going to start by arm circles. Make big circles going forward, just like this. You don't want to just start swinging as hard as you can without warming up any, especially if it's cold. You're going to pull your muscles a lot more. It's not a great feeling. So, arm circle forward and arm circle backwards. Open up wide. Try to get full range of motion as much as you can. Take a few deep breaths to relax. Getting those shoulders warmed up. Now let's warm up our spine a little bit. Let's just do some trunk twists. But as we do this, we're going to wrap our arms just like this around. We're going to try to go as much as we can one way, and then all the way around the other way. And just wrap your arms around your chest and your back. Again, still taking a few deep breaths, trying to relax, get a little warmed up. Maybe it's not cold where you are. Maybe you're inside and you've got a nice heater going. Maybe it's summer when you're watching this, who knows? But it's still good to warm up just a little bit. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go over yellow combination number 2. So if you don't remember, hopefully you do, but yellow combination number 2 starts out like this. We can start underneath, but it's just going to go inward, figure 8, raise up, outward, figure 8, strike, catch it, front strike, simple up, and now we're going to let go of the top, and we're going to drop down to our inward figure 8 block, up, outward figure 8 strike, front strike, up, inward figure 8 block, raise it up, outward figure 8 strike, catch it underneath, front strike. You can practice turning your hips with these strikes now. Raise up, switch. Oh, excuse me. It goes right to our inward figure 8 block. Then we're going to raise it up. Outward figure 8 strike, front strike. Up, straight to that inward figure 8 block. Raise it up. Outward figure 8 strike, front strike. Up, inward figure 8 block. Outward figure 8 strike, front strike. Raise it up. Inward figure 8 block, outward figure 8 strike, front strike. We're going to start speeding up. I know you guys have seen this already. Up, inward figure 8 block, outward figure 8 strike, front strike. Up, inward figure 8 block, outward figure 8 strike, front strike. Up, inward figure 8 block, outward figure 8 strike, front strike. Up, in, out, front strike, up, in, out, front strike, up. So hopefully you're at the point where you're really throwing those hips, kind of like if you were swinging a baseball bat. Boom. Your hips turn with these strikes. So when I do that front strike, I turn my hip. That's how I'm going to actually get some power behind this strike. Whenever I'm actually striking something, I want to have power. If I strike something like this, well, that doesn't hurt very much. So we want to throw our hips, boom, as we throw these strikes. All right, now we're going to learn a new strike. It's fairly simple. Honestly, I would say that the front strike is more difficult. So this is called a diagonal strike. So if you've watched the lesson already, you already know this. But a diagonal strike goes diagonal, who would have guessed, across the body from shoulder to hip, and then back on top of that shoulder. I'm going to turn my hips, though, as I do this. Strike down, and then this is just a rechamber. So I'm not striking up with this. If you strike up with this and you make contact, a few bad things can happen. So we don't strike on the upward angles. We strike on the downward angles. So we raise it up over our shoulder. We're going to strike down and then rechamber up. Notice how I'm turning my hip. I can do this with a side step if I'd like. I can just do this in place. Boom. If I have one foot in front of the other, I can do this. So you can do this in a bunch of different ways, but the hips still turn. I throw my hips with these strikes, boom, and I rechamber it. What I tend to do is I reach out as I go for the strike, and then as I'm rechambering it, I keep this in close so I don't make contact on the hit. So I reach out for the strike, keep it in close. Reach out for the strike, keep it in close. Turn your hips, bring it back. So let's go ahead and practice this. If you'd like to mirror me, go ahead and put it in your left hand. If not, well, I'm going to start with my right hand. Ready? We're going to do 10 on each side. 1, and rechamber. 2, and rechamber. 3, and rechamber. 4, and rechamber. 5, make sure you're turning your hips. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to switch hands, and we're going to do the same thing with the other hand. Ready? 1, down, and raise it back up over that shoulder. 2, turn your hips. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you do a side step. 9, you can step forward. 10, or just turn that hip. So, that was our diagonal strike. Like I said, it's going diagonal. Shoulder, hip, and then back over the shoulder. Very simple, but also very effective. So, if I was to bring out my good friend over here, this is my good friend Bob. I have a few Bobs, but this is Bob. What I can do with this is I can strike on the way down. Let me make sure I've got a good angle for you. But as I strike, it's on the way down. Notice how I come up though, and I don't make contact. On the way down, boom, I reach out. On the way up, I don't reach out. I don't want to make contact. I want to bring it in close. Down, and back. Down, and back. Got to turn my hips anytime I put power into this. So we're going to do a few more diagonal strikes, just like this. I'm going to be striking on Bob. If you have something you can strike, you can go ahead and strike. If you're not comfortable striking it, remember, you can get close. Whenever you're practicing striking and you're not quite comfortable with it, I want you to start off at a distance where I'm not making contact. I'm not making contact. I'm not, and then I make contact. So we keep this good safe distance where I can't touch it, and then boom, I can touch it. Boom, I can touch it. And then when I feel more confident, I can rip through it. So if you're not quite confident with your striking yet, that's fine. If you'd like to practice with foam nunchucks for striking, that's also fine. The ricochet's a little different with foam ones. If you want to practice with wood ones, I would recommend wearing safety goggles and wearing like MMA gloves or something that'll protect the back of your hand, because that seems to be the most common thing. As I strike, it tends to come back and hit the back of the hand. So MMA gloves are pretty good for that. They're padded, but you still have grips with your fingers. So we're going to go ahead and practice this a few times. Ready? 1, 2, turn your hips, sinking down. 3, 4. Remember to follow all the way through with your strike. You cannot stop. If you stop on the target, you are going to hit yourself. I guarantee it. 5. My hand goes all the way across to my opposite hip. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch sides. Again, if you don't have a bob or anything, just do this in the air with me. Ready? Again, I start off, I can get my distance. I'm just barely not able to touch him, and I extend out slightly further, and I can hit it. Ready? 1, 2. Again, notice how I'm not making contact on the way up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn your hips. 8, 9, 10. Good. So that's our diagonal strike when we're actually striking a target. Again, it's very effective, super powerful. I drop my hips, I turn them, so I slightly drop my weight down. If you look at where my head is, when I'm done with my strike, it's lower. It's in a lower position than it once was. And that is our diagonal strike. Now we're going to move on to our downward arm switch. So you guys remember the front switch? Well, the downward arm switch is the exact opposite. So instead of raising it up and switching, I'm going to be dropping it down. Open the other hand, and it switches. So this is the exact opposite motion. One was going up, and the other one is going down. When I'm doing this though, I can't just go like my diagonal strike from shoulder to hip. it's not going to come up the same way. It might hit me in the back. What I want to do is I actually want to cross my center line. Boom. Here's my center line, right where this is. I cross it, and then I go down. Instead of diagonal, cross the center line, go down. That way, it wraps around and falls into your hand. Instead of going here and, well, I'm going to hit my back. I'm going to wrap around, and I'm going to hit my back. I don't want to do that. So I want to pass the center line and come up. My other hand is just there, prepared, and catches it. And this one takes practice. Sometimes you're going to go and do something like that, or you'll miss, go to the inside. You have to practice enough so you know that, okay, it's going to go into my hand. I don't have to look at it. Oh, I saw it go into my hand. You don't have to do that. Maybe at first you do, but later on you want to just be able to have it go right into your hand. Again, it's the exact opposite of our front switch. So our hands are placed in the exact same position. It's just coming from a different angle now. So I'm going to pass my center line and bring it right up here. Pass the center line, bring it up, and catch. A lot of the time, I catch it like this. I don't catch it like this most of the time, because that's going to require my other hand being really high up here. So I catch it like this, just here, it comes in, I catch it just like that. Boom. So as I switch, that was a front switch, downward, it comes up, and I catch it. Notice how there's this gap here, and that's fine. Here, boom, other side. If you're having a little bit of difficulty, maybe you have really tight shoulders, you're not quite as flexible, you can go into these longer grips and still be able to do the same thing with our longer grip. You should be able to do it in a longer grip and a medium grip. A short grip, it's really close. You know, I'm not going to go short grip to short grip, especially with these chucks. These chucks are only about 4 fingers with the string. So if you have longer ones, it'll be easier. If you have shorter ones, well, you're going to have to adjust accordingly. So let's go ahead and keep practicing this. We're going to go ahead and switch, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start counting with this. We're going to do 20, so that'll be 10 switches on each side. Ready? 1, catch. 2, 3, 4, make sure you pass that center line. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good. So again, that is our downward arm switch. It makes sense though, right? It's moving downwards. Oh look, I missed it on the last one. I did 20 without any problem, and then I missed one. Bring it down and catch it. Down and catch it. Another thing, if you notice what I just did, the mistake that I made, is I hit it with my fingers. So my fingers were too close together as I was going to try to catch it. I don't want to actually hit my fingers again, but my fingers were too close together like this, and I ended up hitting my fingers. It didn't go in between. So remember, we want to start off with kind of a bigger V shape, and then it'll go in, and once we feel that, boom, our fingers just wrap around it. But if we already start with kind of a closed, kind of a U shape, we're more likely to impact on our fingers. And I'll tell you, when it's cold outside, it doesn't feel good to impact on your fingers. It doesn't. Just take my word for that. Don't try it. It's not fun. Now we're going to move on to our shuffle kata. So our shuffle kata, we've already done the opening sequence, and we've already done the side sequences. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to quickly review those again, just because it's always good to build back up, and then we're going to add on a little bit more. So here, we bow. We present as we step out with our left. We're going to step back with our right foot. Shuffle forward, high block. Front kick, kia. Drop down, front strike. Raise up, switch. Step forward, outward figure 8 strike. Front strike, up, switch, strike. Goes back, behind the back as I step back. I'm going to step across as it goes around the neck. And I'm going to catch it in front, inward figure 8 block. I'm going to raise up, look to the side, outward figure 8 strike, that's 1. Step through, front strike, that's 2. Up, together, switch, land, outward figure 8 strike, front strike, that's 3 in that sequence. Now we're going to go to the other side. So I'm going to raise it up over my left shoulder, my right foot steps back. I'm going to go outward figure 8 strike, that's 1. Step through, front strike, that's 2. Step together, up, switch, right outward figure 8 strike, front strike, simple up, and switch. So we should have gotten to this point before. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my positioning. We're going to go and we're going to do what's the back sequence, or to the rear. So we've done this part before in Blitz Kata. This is actually the end of Blitz Kata, is this part right here. So we've got our right foot in front, and it's over our left shoulder. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our right foot back towards our left foot, and we're going to step out with our right foot as we do a left outward figure 8 strike. Now, we're going to step up together, raise this up, switch, and then we're going to step forward with our left, outward figure 8 strike with our right. Now we're going to step through with our right, front strike. I'm going to skip back just a little bit more. And then we're going to have another one. Remember, as the left foot comes up with this type of a sequence, it goes up, together, switch, outward figure 8 strike, front strike. Raise it up. Other side, side strike with around the neck part 1. Now instead of going all the way with the around the neck part 1, what I'm going to do, I'm going to catch it and I'm going to turn back so I'm facing the front again. So, one more time. We just had our right foot was forward and we have it over our left shoulder. Our right foot comes in towards our left and we're going to step out with our right as we do an outward figure 8 strike. We're in a right front stance. Now what we're going to do is we're going to step up, together, switch, outward figure 8 strike. Step through with the right, front strike. I'm going to scoot back a little bit. Up, together, switch, left, outward figure 8 strike. Front strike. Up, switch, side strike, around the neck, part 1. And as I do that, I'm going to land, catching it underneath, facing back towards what was originally the front. Now, I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to do it going back towards the main camera this time. So I'm here. I have it over my left shoulder. I'm going to step with my right foot towards my left, and then I'm going to step out, outward figure 8 strike. Now, I'm going to up, or together, up, switch, outward figure 8 strike with the right. Now I'm going to step through, front strike with the right. Up, together, switch, outward figure 8 strike with the left, front strike with the left, raise it up, switch, side strike, around the back to around the neck, and then I'm going to turn facing towards the rear, catching it underneath my arm. I'm going to demonstrate this from the side now. So I've got my right foot in front. It's over my left shoulder. Again, this should seem very similar to Blitz Kata, the ending portion. My right foot is going to come up towards my, or back towards my left. I'm going to step out, outward figure 8 strike with my left. Up, together, switch, step through, outward figure 8 strike, left foot's forward. Now I'm going to step through with my right, front strike. And then I'm going to, again, as the left foot steps up, together, up, switch, outward figure 8 strike with the left, front strike with the left, raise up, switch, side strike, around the back, around the neck, turn to a left back stance, and now I'm facing. That would have been the original facing towards the front of when I was starting my kata. And now I'm going to demonstrate it one more time from this way, going that direction. So I'm here. Boom, I've got my right foot in front. It's over my left shoulder, just like this. My right foot comes towards my left foot. It steps out, outward figure 8 strike with the left. Now I'm going to together, up, switch, outward figure 8 strike with the right. Step through, front strike with the right. Up, together, switch, outward figure 8 strike with the left, front strike with the left, up, switch, side strike, around the back, around the neck, facing back towards what was originally our front. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put all three of those sequences together. So we're here, we bow, we present, we step back with our right, shuffle forward, high block, front kick, kia, front strike, raise up, step through, switch, Our figure 8 strike with the left. Front strike with the left. Up, switch, side strike, around the back. As I go for around the back, my right foot steps back. As I go for around the neck, my left foot steps across, and I'm going to turn. I've got my right foot in front, inward figure 8 strike. I'm going to offset slightly. I'm going to look to the left as I come up, step out. That's 1, outward figure 8 strike. Step through, front strike, that's 2. Up, together, switch. 3, outward figure 8 strike, front strike, simple up. My right foot, my back foot turns. Outward figure 8 strike, that's 1. I'm going to step through, strike with a front strike, that's 2. I'm going to step up, together, switch, outward figure 8 strike, front strike, simple up, front switch. Now we're going to do our rear sequence. Yeah, I'm just adjusting so that you'll be able to see a little bit better. My right foot is going to step back towards my left. I'm going to step out, outward figure 8 strike with the left. I'm going to step up, together, switch, step out with the left, outward figure 8 strike. Step through, front strike, up, together, switch, outward figure 8 strike with the left, front strike with the left, up, switch, side strike, around the back, around the neck, and as I catch it, I face right here towards the front, catching it underneath. And that's going to be our rear sequence. We have one more sequence to go, and then we'll finish our shuffle kata. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to do green chevron combination number 3. So combination number 3 is actually only 2 strikes. And it's not even 2 strikes, it's only 2 techniques. And it's the 2 techniques that we learned today. The 2 techniques we learned today were, what were they? Go ahead and say them out loud. Diagonal strike, and then downward arm switch. There you go, you got it. So we're going to do a diagonal strike, bring it back, and then we're going to do a downward arm switch. Now remember, as we're doing this, we can't do our downward arm switch at the same angle that we did our diagonal strike. It's going to be difficult. Maybe once you get a little bit better, you'll be able to do a little wrist flick to be able to do it, but the percentage isn't as good as I'd like. So we're going to do a diagonal strike, and then we're going to bring it across and go for our downward arm switch. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, it's only 2 techniques, it just repeats. We're going to do our diagonal strike, bring it back, and then we're going to go downward arm switch. Diagonal strike, back, downward arm switch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to count this out. So both of those techniques is going to be on 1 count. So 1, diagonal, back, arm switch. 2, diagonal, back, arm switch. 3, down, arm switch. 4, diagonal, arm switch. 5, diagonal, arm switch. 6, diagonal, arm switch. 7, diagonal, arm switch. 8, diagonal, arm switch. 9, diagonal, arm switch. 10, diagonal, arm switch. Oh, I missed it. Wonder if you've missed any yet. Maybe. Ready? 11, diagonal, arm switch. 12, diagonal, arm switch. 13, 14, pick up the pace a little. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Whoa, we're going over. I didn't know I could count higher than 20. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. All right. A little thing about me, I don't ever stop at 30. I will always go to 31. If you can figure out why, go ahead and send me a message and tell me why you think that I will only go to 31 instead of 30. There's a reason. All right, so now we're going to move on, and we're going to do freestyle. So remember, freestyle is anything that you want. You could start tossing up in there. You can do your hand rolls, some tosses. Oh, it's kind of cold today. I don't know if I want to do that. But do whatever feels the most natural. I want you to also use a little bit of footwork. Move around. I don't want you just standing still. If you absolutely have to stand still, you can. There's nothing wrong with it. But when we start getting more advanced, we want to start being able to move around as we throw our strikes. It's going to be a lot more advantageous if we can do everything with motion. We want to just stay fluid. One thing we don't want to try, or we want to try to avoid, is we want to try to avoid kind of cross-stepping, especially if we're striking to the front. We don't want to cross-step this way. If we're going to the side, maybe I want to do a cross-step with a kick. That's fine. But if our opponent is in front of us and I'm striking here, I don't want to do that. If I'm striking over there, okay, that's fine. So let's go ahead and start our freestyle. Let's just practice a little bit. Whatever you want to do. If you drop the nunchuck, all you got to do is pick it up. Don't worry about it. You might see me drop it. I might try some fancy stuff like a one-arm switch around the neck. It doesn't matter. If you drop it, pick it up. You've already seen me mess up. I think I messed up twice today. It's okay. It doesn't matter if you mess up. All that matters is that you keep going. That's all that matters. Everyone makes mistakes. We're all people. There's no problem with it. Keep going. Anything you want. If you want to practice the combinations that we worked today, you can do that. You want to practice some fancy stuff, you can do that. Whatever you feel like doing, whatever you're comfortable doing, practice it all. One thing I would say is try not to do everything on one side. So I have a bad habit of I like doing stuff on the right side. Why? Because it feels cool. Because I'm good at the right side. I'm not as good at the left side. So I tend to gravitate, and I'm sure most of you do, towards practicing with one side because you want to get that side really good. But make sure you put enough effort into your bad side that it's at least close to what your good side is. We don't have to have it perfect, but you want to make it so it's good. We're trying to balance it out. Chances are you're never going to get into a nunchuck fight. Let's be honest. In real life, you're not going to be carrying around nunchucks. You shouldn't be. It's probably illegal where you are. These are for practicing coordination. There's a lot of benefits for nunchucks, but you're probably not ever going to actually get in a confrontation with them. So we want to be even on both sides instead of that old thing where I'm only going to fight on one side, so I only have to practice one side. No, we're not going to actually fight with nunchucks. Let's be honest. So you're going to practice both sides so you have good coordination with both of your hands, good hand-eye coordination, and that's what it's really all about. It's about self-improvement. It's not about trying to hurt other people. So hopefully you did good on your freestyle. You are more than welcome to continue doing your freestyle. While I talk, the video ends. Just keep practicing if you'd like. There's nothing saying you have to stop just because I'm stopping. Feel free to continue. Again, freestyle is probably one of the most fun things that most people do. You gotta learn the techniques and then incorporate them, put them all together, and just flow. Have a good time. All right, guys. So today, what we went over is we went over yellow chevron combination number 2, which was our inward figure 8. Let me demonstrate. Which was our inward figure 8. Raise up, our figure 8 strike, front strike, up, and then it repeats on the other side. Then we learned our diagonal strike, just like that. And we went over our downward arm switch, just like that. We finished, or we didn't finish, we did the rear portion of our shuffle kata, so we have one more section left. And then we did our green combination number 3. And our green combination number 3 was our diagonal strike and our downward arm switch put together, repeating on both sides. So I hope you had a good class today. Hopefully you're able to retain this material, keep practicing, and keep working on getting better every day.